Morning, guys. We have been given the greatest gift ever. As human beings, we have the power to control the most powerful force in the universe, which is thought. We can control our thoughts, but many of us haven't been trained and haven't conditioned ourselves to believe that. One of the most common things I hear often when we talk about this topic with friends, family, is that it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to control my mind. It's hard to control our thoughts. Let's try to change that conversation because our words are symbols of our thoughts. So let's change it to it's possible. Control of our thoughts is possible. Let's do that even once today. When we feel our thoughts strain towards the negative, let's try to change that one moment and control our thoughts to positive. And let's see what happens day by day as we build on that. Have a great day, everybody.
And shine, it's espresso time. Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and successful people don't wake up and go, yes, another day, I'm gonna crush it. No, they wake up just like you and I. The difference is they have habits and routines, like watching one of these videos, that set them up for success. So let's start your day off right together. Grab your coffee, know that I believe in you. And in celebration of my recent one-on-one with John Assaraf, enjoy this shot of espresso from our vaults.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and every morning I bring you a shot of espresso to help you believe in yourself more and start your day with confidence. So good morning, I believe in you, and let's do this. Over to you, John Assaraf.
When we talk about how do we create rituals or how do we change habits that last, the first thing is to have a different expectation than I'm going to change in a day or a week or in 21 days. Whenever I try to change anything, my number one rule is 100 days or I don't even start. So if I want to, let's say, stop caffeine, it's a 100-day commitment. So first I make longer term commitments, and then I design a plan to retrain my brain around the expectation of following through. I make pre-commitments in advance. So if I say, let's say I'm going to stop drinking coffee. I say, okay, I'm going to stop drinking coffee. I commit to it for 100 days. And then I write out, well, what will you do in the morning when you wake up and you want a coffee? What will you do when you're at a restaurant with friends and everybody's having a coffee? What will you do? So you counter any of the behavior when you know the trigger is going to happen. Every habit has three parts to it. There's something that triggers the emotion, there's the behavior, and then there's the neurological and biological reward. So when you understand the habit part of any ritual, you understand that because we are conditioned a certain way, we're going to have a trigger, whether it's a flower, whether it's waking up, whether it's a girl or a guy or children coming home. It triggers a response in the brain or reaction in the brain. Well, if we change the behavior over the course of 100 days, we'll still get the reward. And if we pre-commit to what we're going to do when we say, maybe today I'll have the coffee and tomorrow I won't. Maybe today I'll have the pizza or the dessert and I'll catch up tomorrow. Well, if you pre-commit in advance that you're not going to take that action, then that's step one. Step two is when you have the trigger, if you interrupt the behavior for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 minutes, you interrupt the neural pattern in the brain also. So you come up with strategies is when I feel like having a coffee or dessert or the pizza or the croissant, okay? Then here's what I'm going to do instead for 5 minutes, and that way I can interrupt the pattern. If you do that long enough, you'll start to develop a new neural pattern. You'll start to develop a new behavior. And if you do it for at least 66 days, but preferably 100 days, you'll start to develop a new way of thinking and being and doing that will overshadow the other pattern in the brain.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
I
so
love
there's a psychology behind it, but there's also the neurological processes of the brain. And what happens is our brain doesn't like change.
Yeah.
So anytime that there is change, the brain it feels uncomfortable. As soon as it feels uncomfortable, it'll send signals to the motor cortex of the brain. It'll send messages, and we'll start to rationalize. We'll start to tell ourselves, well, I shouldn't do it because of this. Well, maybe today's not a good day. Well, I'll start today, but I won't continue till next week, or you know what, I really don't want this. And we start to talk to ourselves. And when we understand what the brain does whenever we try to change, then we can start being in control of the brain, and we can override the automatic responses. There's something called automaticity. And automaticity states that anything that I repeat over and over and over again over a period of time will go from conscious effort, deliberate conscious effort, willpower, or persistence, and it'll become automatic. So we just have to know how long that is. And some things take a week, some things take 60 days. Some habits that people have for 20, 30, 40, 50 years take 200 days. And so you start off with a 100-day window, and you ask yourself, am I willing to give a little bit of effort for 100 days to remove this destructive either thought pattern or destructive behavioral pattern in order for me to have something greater and better than what I have right now?
So it's very important. You focus a lot on what you will have, or who you will be in the future to keep your motivation.
Yeah, if you think about this, one of the best examples that I ever came up with is, imagine if I give you a Hollywood script right now, okay? And I say to you, if you learn this script for the next 6 months, I will give you $10 million to be on stage to deliver that. We're gonna film you, and if you're amazing, you're gonna have a chance to win an Academy Award. What will you do with the script starting today?
I start to learn.
You start to learn, you start to read it, you start to emotionalize it, you start to practice it, you start to do everything possible to become something that's in writing. Something that came out of somebody's head, that they wrote a script for, that you don't have any idea what it is. But if you made a commitment to becoming that person, and you rehearsed it and practiced it every day, you wouldn't get it right the first day, or the first week,
or the first month.
or the first month. But if you knew there was a big payday, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and that people would go to the theaters and love to watch it, and they'd laugh or cry or be sad and be happy because you were able to take them on a beautiful emotional roller coaster ride, then you would become that role.
Yeah.
Most people are interested, they're not committed. And the difference is, when you're interested, you do what's convenient and what's easy. But when you're committed, you do whatever it takes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can you repeat it?
Sure. When you're interested, you do what's easy and what's convenient for you.
Yeah.
But when you're committed, I'm going to get that result, you put everything into it until you get the result.
You have to have a plan for what you're going to do when it gets hard. When you want to quit, when you know what has made you quit in the past, and when you know that thing that made you quit is going to show up again, what are you going to do? When you have a plan for how you're going to handle it, you'll stay committed. When you don't have a plan, you're just going to react, and probably not react in a way that will make you proud of yourself. So this is one of the biggest hacks that I've discovered more recently in my career and my adulthood, whatever you want to call it, is typically on goals where I would have a hard time following through, or it got really difficult or scary or hard. I would just push myself more to say, you're Evan Carmichael, you do scary, difficult, or hard, let's go do this. and I would summon the extra strength to have to get through whatever I was struggling with. What I've done more recently, and why I love having this video on, is very timely, is trying to prepare in advance for some of the obstacles that I know are going to come. So as an example, I've done this recently, this week. Last week I had a really rough week. I wasn't sleeping very well. I had some big interviews for my channel. I was nervous about them. I was staying up late. And when I can't sleep, I get restless legs. My legs are jumping all the time. And if I'm in bed for more than 20 minutes, my legs start to get jumpy. And I've tried magnesium, and I've tried vitamin B, and I've tried a whole bunch of other things to try to make it go away. And it's still something that I'm struggling with. The thing that's worked out the best is actually stretching. So I stretch out my calves. I think partly it's also because I'm on a trampoline all day long and I'm getting 20,000 plus steps in or jumps in a day, that I need to stretch my calves the other way for them to kind of, I don't know, de-stress. Anyway, maybe too much information. But what was happening last week was I would lie in bed, would do my stretching before, lie in bed, and then I'd get restless legs. And so I'd get up and I would do some work or play some League of Legends or whatever. And then I would fall asleep and get tired because I was so exhausted. And last week I had a 4:30 in the morning day where that's when I went to sleep, a 2:30 in the morning day. And so I set a new plan on the weekend to say, okay, I can predict that this is going to happen, right? I can try to muscle my way through like I normally would do and say, I'm Evan Carmichael, I do difficult things, you know, just stay in bed, try to muscle your way through it, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't work. I said, you know what, I'm going to have a plan this time. What's my plan? My plan is going to be, I'm going to do my stretching before I go to bed. And if I get the restless legs, jumpy legs, that comes up after 20 minutes because I haven't fallen asleep yet, I'm going to get up and stretch again. And so that's what I tried. And it worked. And so I got up and I stretched. I was super tired. I didn't want to stretch. You know, I would rather just go work or something and hop on my trampoline and then 2 hours later come back to bed. But I stretched for a couple minutes and I said, you know, I'm just going to try it. Let's try this. I stretched for a couple of minutes. I went back to bed and I fell asleep. Like, oh my God, I feel amazing. I didn't stay up till 2:30 or 4:30 in the morning. This is great because I had planned for it more effectively. So whatever goal you set for yourself, it always comes back to habits, right? Like, what are you doing on a consistent basis? And habits invariably will get hard. There will be moments where the habit is really difficult to keep. Right? When you're feeling bold and motivated and confident and you had tons of sleep and everything's going right, it's usually pretty easy to stay consistent on the habits. But when obstacles come in your way, it's going to be harder. And so you know the things that will trigger you to want to quit, right? So for me, it was getting jumpy legs after 20 minutes and being in bed. When you can figure out your trigger, the thing that in the past has made you quit, why you've gone kind of stop and start and stop and start and stop and start. What were the triggers that made you stop? What happened? And then when you're feeling bold, motivated, confident, have enough rest, all of that energy, maybe that's today. To plan for the days when you're not going to have as much, when you know that this roadblock's going to come up again, when you know that this person's going to call you and it's going to send you down some spiral, right? This trigger that's going to make you stop. The trigger that is going to make you stop. What is your reaction going to be? And plan for that. It makes a huge, huge, huge difference and allows you to stay committed to your goals. Okay, so how do you do it? I have a 3-step process I'm going to walk you through. But before that, here's a quick message from John Asraf.
Hey, this is John Asraf, and do you love good books? I love to read because there's so much wisdom in books. You get to take somebody else's knowledge, skills, research, pay $15-20, and you learn so much. Now, I'm reading this awesome book called Built to Serve. Find your purpose and become the leader you were born to be. And one of my new friends, really smart guy, really great guy who serves a lot of people, Evan Carmichael, wrote it. And I'm going to read a little bit from chapter number 1. And I love this piece. And maybe it's because I just watched the series on TV on Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, which is really great, by the way, also. But one of the things he says here is everybody has Michael Jordan talent at something. Everybody has a Michael Jordan talent at something. You just haven't found it yet. Or you have and you don't believe in yourself enough to go all in. To go all in, right? And you're a genius. I believe you're a genius. And so does he. You're amazing. You are not meant to live a photocopy of someone else's life. You were not created to wake up and do work that is below your capabilities. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something, and you need to uncover exactly what your purpose is and how you can serve and use the serve. So, lots of pearls and gems and motivational pieces. Pick up Built to Serve. Evan Carmichael, Rising Star.
Okay, so how do we plan to stay consistent on our goals? 3 steps, let's go. Step number 1 is understand what is the habit that you're having a hard time staying consistent on. There are some habits that I can do that might be really difficult for you, but easy for me, and vice versa. Super easy for you, but difficult for me. What I care about is what is a habit that actually means something to you that you're having a difficult time staying consistent on? Whether it's something health related, exercise, diet, whether it's business, making videos, creating content, following up with people, staying ahead of your schedule, being on time. Like everybody's got their own issues. For you, what's the most important habit that you want to stay consistent on that you've historically had a hard time doing? Write that down. Step number 2 is what are the triggers that are preventing you from staying consistent on that habit? So if your habit is you want to eat healthy, and you've dieted and stopped and ate healthy for 3 days and then stopped. Like, what are the triggers that prevent you from staying consistent? What are the triggers that make you want to stop? So if it's eating healthy, maybe it's that you don't have a good night's sleep, and so that makes you want to eat all sorts of crazy food. It could be that you're going to an office party or you're hanging out with your colleagues and all they're doing is eating junk food, and that makes you want to eat the junk food. Like, what are the triggers that are coming up that every time this happens, you fall off the track, and this happens again, and you fall off the track, right? A one-off I'm not so concerned about, but you've already been trying to keep on this habit, and you know that you haven't stayed consistent, and the things that are causing you to not be consistent are happening constantly. They're repeated patterns. So what are the most repeated patterns for you that help you fall off track? And then step number 3 is understand, well, what will you do right now when that trigger comes up? When you don't sleep well, what will you do to make sure that you don't go cheat on your diet? When you do have to go out with your friends, what are you going to do to make sure that you don't eat all the nachos or whatever they're eating that makes you want to eat it, right? When you identify what those triggers are, while you're feeling bold and confident and amazing and full of potential, create the plan to say, okay, when this happens, I'm going to do this so that I don't end up down here. Because too often when this happens, we just slide all the way down. We're putting the gap, right? We're putting the stop. The slide stops here. It doesn't stop way down here. When this happens, what are we going to do? Put that into place for yourself and watch your life change. It's time for the good deed of the day. This is something new. I believe that you're built to serve, and it feels so good to do something nice for somebody else. So good deed of the day, put down in the comments one thing that you need help with, that you're working on, that you'd love some support or guidance on. And then 2, go comment on somebody else's comment and give them some love, give them some support, give them some encouragement, maybe give them some connections, try to help them solve that problem. Even if it's saying, I believe in you, that one little bit of encouragement can be the difference between somebody quitting and continuing on. So the good deed of the day in the comments below, write down one thing that you need help on, that you're struggling with, that you're working on. And then part 2 is go give love to somebody else in the comments too, and let them know that you believe in them as well. If you want to see my last one-on-one with the amazing John Asraf, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Well, we all own the most powerful biocomputer in the world, in the universe. And most people don't know how to change their brain to change
just begins. But for you, don't give up. Come with me and live in my magazine. Do what you want, give what you feel, enjoy what you do. Tell me what you need. Don't look back, live strong. Dance together everywhere welcome to my world. I live in a magazine. Welcome to my world. Welcome to my world. I live in a magazine. Welcome to my world. Magazine.
Legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed. Breathing in through our noses and out through our mouths. Deep, long breaths. Feel that power of you controlling your breathing. Feel that power of you keeping your back straight and your eyes closed, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's slightly painful. That's your true power. That's your determination. So use that power here, now, and forever. And see in your mind today how you will do when that music goes on as we work in the gym of life. But you gotta see it in your mind right now if you want to bring it out into the world. See yourself doing the best you can on all the stretches or exercises that we choose and do together here today, right here, right now, wherever we are. Because you were born to do that. You were born to use your determination to see in your mind what you want to create and then make real as you open your eyes and live your life. Good morning, determination. How's everyone doing today? Another day in the gym of life, another chance to be better than we were last time. So here we go, determination, here we go. When I say go, we're going to start jogging on the spot as we usually do. But for now, you can just start walking on the spot. as we slowly warm up our bodies and get ready for another session here together, another moment, a few moments here together. When I say go, we'll start jogging on that spot. Ready? And go. Always focused on our breathing and how we can control it, no matter what we're doing, wherever we are in life, wherever we go, not just in the stretches or exercises we're doing. Anytime we're using our bodies and our minds, let's remember how we can always take control of that breathing. It's the same way we can take control of our minds, our thoughts, and therefore our feelings. It's hard work, but just like everything else, with hard work comes all the best things in life. So here we go. We're almost there with the jog, almost there. Feel your body. All the things that are going on right now. Your arms moving, your heart beating, your breathing. That's your presence. That's phenomenal. You are phenomenal. And stop. All right. Walking on the spot. I'm just going to walk side to side here since I have enough space. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, make sure you have enough space as we work together here in the gym of life. The gym of life never ends, even though we may not be exactly where we want to be at school, at work, wherever it is that we would see and be with all the people that we love and always look forward to being with. But we're here right now together in this moment if you're watching this and you're doing this. So let's go, everybody. Here we go. Let's roll the shoulders first. 10 forward. Here we go. Again, doing the best shoulder rolls we've ever done. All the way to our ears and around. That's 4, 5. Let's do 10 forward. Here we go. All right, and backwards. Again, enjoying the process, enjoying the effort that we're putting in right now to be our best in whatever we're doing. That's what matters. That's what matters. And that can always keep us in our greatest gift, our presence. You're here, you're watching, you're doing, you are living. You have everything you need. Here we go. All right, arm circles forward. Let's do 10 forward again. Again, thinking about our breathing. Deep, long breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And backwards. 10 arm circles backwards. Taking good air in and letting bad air out. Excellent. Okay, hands on the hips, bend the knees and side stretch. 5 on each side. All right, let's do twist now. Keep your feet on the floor and just twist your body. Twist your hips. Again, just feeling the joy of moving your body. All right, okay, and let's do 5 push-ups. Try your best. Here we go. Best 5 push-ups ever. All right, 5 sit-ups, everyone. Here we go. Always doing your best. If you need to use your arms to lift up, for now, that's okay. But just keep going. Don't give up. All right, let's do 5 squats. Here we go. All the way down, all the way up. Arms straight up, looking straight ahead. Excellent. All right. Let's do 6 lunges. 3 on each side. Bring our back straight, our body straight, looking straight ahead. All right, good. And let's do 10-second plank. Belly's knees off the ground. Feeling the joy of being able to become uncomfortable in order to one day be comfortable doing this. All right, and stand up again, everybody. And let's reach for the ceiling on our toes. Here we go. Or if you're outdoors, you're reaching for the sky. Again, feeling the joy of reaching, stretching, using those muscles in our body, all the parts of our body, to reach, to do better. All right, actually touch the ceiling this time. Here we go. Excellent. All right, and reaching now for your toes. Straight knees. Hold it there for 10 seconds. Excellent. All right, good. And let's balance now. Grab one leg and balance. Really think about what you're doing. Find that point, and then pull that leg up towards your bottom. Bend the other knee if you have to. Feel the power of you finding your balance in this moment right now. And switch. It's the same way you can find your balance in whatever you're doing. Keep thinking. Keep trying different things. Again, bend that knee if you have to. And pull your foot up towards your bottom, and you should feel a pull on the front of your leg, front of your thigh. All right, now let's hug our knee. Here we go. Once again, find that balance, work for it. There we go, bend that knee and lift or hug your knee fully. Give it a nice big hug. All right, and switch, the other one now. Slowly come on up. Make sure you have plenty of space around you. Just in case you do lose your balance, you fall. You get right back up though. You know the truth, determination. We never give up. We get right back up and we keep going. No matter what. Alrighty. Okay, and let's sit down and reach for our toes with straight knees. Here we go. Again, enjoying fully. Reaching for our toes. Just like we're reaching always in life. Striving to be better than we were yesterday, a minute ago, a second ago. That's pure happiness. That's joy of learning, infinite mind wealth. Okay, and let's go V-shape now. And reach for the floor. Here we go. As far away from your body as you can. Feeling certain muscles being stretched. Your ability to think about that. That's your awareness and that's your determination. The power to control your thoughts, to focus on your being right now. And switch, reach for one side. Alrighty, and reach for the other side. Again, you're trying to touch your toes. If you don't, that's okay. Just reaching, feeling the joy of going for it. Alright, and let's pull our feet together and gently push our knees down with our elbows. Here we go. Feeling the pull a little bit on the inner thighs, just a little bit, as we gently use our elbows to push our knee towards the ground. Okay, one leg forward, one leg back. Go as far back as you can. Keep that knee on the ground though. And let's hold it there for 10 seconds. And switch to the side. Okay, and again, go as far back as you can, but keep your knee on the ground. A little bit with some space here, but we'll do our best. Always do our best. That's what we got. Okay, and let's go into cobra stretch. So, belly's on the ground, push the floor and look up at the ceiling or the sky. Wherever you are. Wherever you are. Here we go. Hold it for 10 seconds. Good, everyone. Okay, and legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed. Once again, feeling that power to control our breathing the way we control our mind and our thoughts. So right now, let's see ourselves doing the best we can when that music goes on. For me today, I'm going to play 2 songs. Again, feel free to listen to my songs or have your own playing. But whatever you do, pick 2 exercises or 2 stretches or 2 movements that are safe within the space you have. And for one song, the duration of one song, try to keep going in that one specific exercise activity. For me, I'm going to be doing planks, holding the plank position for as long as I can for the first song, hopefully the whole song. And for the second song, I'm going to see in my mind right now, holding side plank position for each side for the duration of that song. I'm going to see that in my mind right now. Right now, see in your mind what you want to make real when that music goes on. See it with the full power that it's possible. See it with the full power of belief and intention, determination to do your best to make it happen. Here we go. All right, here we go. Determination. It's all about belief. You gotta believe in yourself. Here we go. I believe I can do this. Let's see. What about you? What are you doing? Are you doing planks like me? If you are, let's go. The whole song. Listen to the words of this powerful song. Everything's about believing in yourself. Everything. It all begins there. You believe that you can do something. Do you believe that? No matter how long it takes, no matter how hard you gotta work, if you don't believe it, it'll never happen. Belief is the activating force, the key to unlocking the full power of our minds. And then we gotta determine to do it. There we go, everybody. Always believe. I miss and love your determination. I miss and love you all the time. But we are here right now together. We are united. Right now, working on holding a plank position maybe. I don't know what it is you're working on. You're doing a dance or something or an exercise. Keep moving. Keep going. Don't give up. Let's go. The whole song. We're doing this. The whole song. That's right. Evan's right. We gotta fix our mindset. Meaning, if we correct our thoughts, turn them into nothing but positivity and belief in ourselves, all the rest of the anxiety, mind health challenges, all those lying thoughts will just go away. But you gotta do it. You gotta do it. Determination. Only you can do it. Only you can believe in you. Actually, others, of course, can believe in you, but the number one thing that will matter is whether you believe in yourself. You don't want to waste everyone else's belief in you. It'll all go away if you don't believe in yourself. We were born to do it. We were born to believe in ourselves. First and foremost, to love ourselves no matter what. To know the truth of what others feel about us if they believe in us too. Almost there, almost there. Song's almost over. Let's go. Determination, let's go. Awesome work, determination. All right, next song. right. Side planks for me. Here I go. Holding one side for half the song and maybe holding the other side for the other half. Listening to, again, powerful music, energy, words. Bob was right. One love. Bob Marley knew the truth, just like you know the truth. We all know the truth. We're made of it. Of course. If we just take our minds when they're negative and they're anxious and stressed and fearing, if we took our minds, our thoughts, and just moved them out of the way, all there is love. We are made of pure love, pure infinite intelligence. We get to work on our bodies, our minds all the time to be the true beings we were born to be. Even if we feel like quitting, it's hard. It's hard to control our minds, to get it out of the way. But we can do what we were born to do. Alright, let's go to the other side now. Here we go. Oh, love it. Feeling the sweat. All that old fluid leaving the body. Make room for some new, good fluid. Here we go. Just like our new thoughts. We get rid of the old thoughts that don't serve us to make room for new, good thoughts, positive thoughts that serve us to be who we were all born to be. Love. That's it. Simple. No hate. No anger. Those things are going to be there. We're going to feel it sometimes, but with our determination, we can determine love, not hate. Determination, not giving up. Happiness, not depression. Joy, not sadness. How's everyone doing? Hanging in there, keep going. We're almost done. Let's always be united together, just like we are right now, right here. Alright. I'm proud of my effort. How about you? How about you? How about you, determination? I'm proud of you. I love you. Here we are again, ending the way we begun today together. Knowing the truth, though, that nothing ever ends, nothing is ever over. Determination is never over, never done. Because we are an energy. We are one energy. The way we take control of our breathing in this moment, the way we did our best today on all the exercises and stretches we did, that's the same way, same process we can use to make the best decisions. No, not decisions, determinations. Positive choices, loving choices, peaceful, grateful, mind healthy, mind wealthy. Choices, determinations. We don't choose and lose. We determine and win. Just like we won again today, here, right now. Just like we're winning right here, right now. Just by being our presence, who we are. By believing and truly knowing the absolute truth that can never be taken away from you by words, by actions of others, or any things, any negativity, any sort of losses, pain, suffering, lies that is taking place, those are lies. That's not the truth of what we were all born to do and be. That's just the mind that has taken over. The collective mind, our individual minds, but we have the power. We have our determination. We have the power to separate our minds from who we really are. Love, that infinite energy that is responsible for all that you are, see, the universe. What else could create something so magnificent other than love? The power of love. The love that's in you, in all of us. So let's just get our thoughts, our negativity, our anxieties, our stresses, when things don't go our way or as they should, get those thoughts out of the way. And feel the truth when all that has gone away. It's love. It's infinite intelligence. It's you. I love your determination. Another great time together. Take this with you. Take this energy, the way you feel right now. Hopefully you feel better than you did when we started. And you won your morning. You won your mind. You won your life in this moment. And you can win it all the time, wherever you go today. Whoever you're with, whatever you're doing, no matter what's going on outside your mind, out in the world. This is the starting place, aligned with this, that can change everything. I love your determination. Have a great day, a great week, and always a great life. I'll see you next time.
Although you cannot change conditions or circumstance, you don't have to let them control you. We can't control what's going on outside, but we can control what's going on inside. And unfortunately, I don't think many of us have been raised to really understand that.
Yeah.
And it's a lack of understanding that's causing all our problems. Look at it this way. We are the only creature on the planet that's totally disoriented in our environment. All the little squirrels, the birds, all the animals are completely at home in their environment. They blend in. You and I are totally disoriented in our environment. We've been given the mental faculties to create our own environment. However, we go right through school and we've never learned that. We have higher faculties, and the average person has no knowledge of how to operate with them, how to develop them. We have perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, and intuition. Now, those mental faculties, they're not just words, they're actually mental faculties that we can use to take control over our world and to create the environment that we want. But unfortunately, we grow up, we don't know that. We've been raised to live through by what we see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, our physical senses. And we've been raised to be controlled by what's going on outside. As little kids, will you listen to what I'm telling you? Will you look at this? And so it's all outside. We get our report card, and that tells us what kind of student we are. But it really tells us where our mind was at for a few minutes 3 weeks ago. Got nothing to do with who we are. So I think we're raised in ignorance, actually. There's a very small percentage of the population that have a reasonably clear understanding of who they are and what they're capable of doing. But the ones that do are in the minority.
Need motivation?
Watch Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 and 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 and 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Bob Proctor, and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, translate the future into being.
The future must become the present in the imagination of the one who would wisely and consciously create circumstances. I think right now everybody wants to create circumstances because they don't like the ones they find themselves in. But you see, you cannot change the circumstance you find yourself in. You can only change your perception of them. And when you do that, you change the circumstance. So we say here, the future must become the present in the imagination of the one who would wisely and consciously create circumstance. We must translate vision into being. Thinking of into thinking from. Imagination must center itself in some state and then view the world from that state. See yourself where we want to be and then be there. Thinking from the end is an intense perception of the world of fulfilled desire. That is so cool. Thinking from the end is an intense perception of the world of fulfilled desire. So what are we doing? We're building a goal, and then we see ourselves already having accomplished the goal. Thinking from the end is an intense perception of the world of fulfilled desire. Already got it. I don't have to get it, I've already got it. That's an intense perception of the world of fulfilled desire. In other words, you got it, it's here. Now think, are you thinking from the end or are you thinking of the end? If you're thinking of the end, your thinking is way out there. If you're thinking from the end, you're part of it. See, the end result has already happened in our mind. We're creative beings. We're God's highest form of creation. We can create in our consciousness the kind of person we want to be and then be that person. And that's what he said here. We must translate vision into being. So we don't just visualize it, we be it.
Rule number 3, take risks.
Let me ask you something. How much would it be worth to you? How valuable would it be?
I set a goal in 1973. I set a goal that I was going to build a company and operate all over the world. I had left the Nightingale Conant Corporation and decided that I was going to do this because I didn't agree with the way they were doing it. People weren't really learning it fast enough. They wouldn't get involved in the repetition. We were selling recordings, but the recordings weren't working because the people didn't understand how to use them. So I decided I would leave and start my own company. And I wrote down I'd build a company and operate it all over the world. I got a call last night from Mikey about 9 o'clock, something like that. And she told me that we were now in every country in the world. Now think of that. We had a broadcast going on here at 10 o'clock this morning. Some of you would be familiar with it, some of you may have been on it. And that broadcast had attracted thousands, literally thousands of people from every country in the world. The goal was reached. That move meant this is really accurate today. We're only limited by weakness of attention and poverty of imagination. Well, my imagination was pretty well exercised. I don't have any difficulty building huge ideas in my mind and just figuring out how to do it. Now stay with me here. The thing that's stopping you from taking the risk that you want to take is called a terror barrier. The way I'm going to explain this to you, I come up with sitting in a restaurant. I remember it was at a Holiday Inn restaurant. It was at Dixie and just south of the 401 highway in Toronto. A man asked me if I would meet with him. He had a problem, and I was going to show him how he could solve the problem. And he explained it, so I took a pen and some paper, and what I'm going to show you here is essentially what I showed him. Now, look at this for a moment. There is the process you go through when you're in a risk-taking vibration. You go from bondage to reason, to the terror barrier, and then to freedom. You go from bondage to reason, to the terror barrier, and then to freedom.
Rule number 4, stop focusing on negative news.
I think reason is probably, it's the one that's spoken about by almost all the great leaders.
Yeah.
They've all been complete unanimous agreement that we become what we think about. It's our reasoning factor that enables us to think. Ford says thinking's the hardest work there is, which is the probable reason so few people engage in it. Dr. Ken McFarland, who's gone for a long time now, but he was a great educator down in Kentucky. He one time said 2% of the people think, 3% think they think, and 95% would actually rather die than think. Now, you know, that sounds cute, but it's true. If you stop and listen to what most people are saying, it's going to be fairly obvious they're not thinking. If you stand back and watch what most people are doing, it's fairly obvious they're not thinking, or they would never say or do what they're doing. Most people today have their television on the news and they're just soaking up all the stuff that's going on, that's dominating the media right now. So they've become a plaything for what's going on outside. And that's why they're living in such fear.
By consuming the media of whether it's true or accurate or not true, you're being manipulated in a sense. Yeah.
It's not a matter of whether it's true or not. Is this how you want to spend your life, just listening to that? That doesn't mean you should deny it. It doesn't mean that you should say, well, that's all false. I don't know whether it's true or false. It's just bad news. I don't want to be involved in it.
Yeah.
Am I aware that it's there? Well, you'd almost have to be dead not to be aware that it's there. But that doesn't mean you have to spend your time thinking on that. I would much rather activate some of my creative faculties and do something that's constructive.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, don't let fear control you.
It's pretty well known today there's a lot of fear in the world. People are wondering what's going to happen. We've gone through many tough times if you study history. I was born during the Great Depression. So I was of an age then, I remember some of the things as a little kid. Then we went into a world war. And when the Depression ended, it was sort of like a theater where the lights were out. It was empty, but the lights started to come up and things started to get brighter. And of course, they became very bright. So the fear, don't let fear control you. Fear is a negative emotion. By following these principles, you're going to be on the other side of fear, where there's faith. There's a law of the universe called polarity. That law decrees everything has an opposite. Every negative has a positive. The truth is, it's neither positive or negative. It's our thinking that makes it so. Everything just is. We can make it what we want. Make up your mind now. You're going to go in the positive polarity. You're going to stay with me because that's where I'm going. And there'll be a very bright future. Let the fear go. It isn't necessary. The cause of it is ignorance. The cause of all fear is ignorance.
Rule number 6, build your image.
What if you could control the web with your mind? What if telekinesis?
If you want something you haven't got, you got to create a space for it. If it's in your own mind, you've got to let go of something. So what do we want to do to let go of? We want to let go of the image we've got for the one we're going to build. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When I started to do this, I tested it I thought, I wonder if this really worked. And I found that it really worked. So I went all out. And you start out by writing the image that you want to hold. Now, I'll tell you how I did it. I took various people that I really admired, and I took some of the qualities that I really admired in them, and I'd write them down. I wasn't going to be like them, but I was going to develop a couple of these qualities or habits. When I was growing up, I was a young guy, it was during the Second World War. There was no men around, no fathers. But one guy did have a father. Donnie Miller's father was not well, so he couldn't go to the war. And Donnie's dad had a heart attack, or I think it was a heart attack. And so we never went around his place because his dad wanted things quiet. They'd come around our place, but not Donnie's place. I would watch Donnie's dad walk up and down the street. You'd see him go way up the street. Later on, you'd see him come back. He was always well-dressed, and he had the calmest walk. There was no rush, just a very calm walk. I visualize myself walking like him. You'll very rarely ever see me rushing anywhere. There's no need of it. You can be calm. So when I built my self-image, I built it around certain things. Ray Stanford always had money. I told you earlier. I don't know how to get into this thing now. Always have some money. Always. Now, I hardly ever use it because I really don't pay for very much. I get somebody in the company to order whatever I want. But you see, I never had any money. Ray always had a roll on him. He would have a roll like that in his pocket all the time. Now, there's about $3,000 here. There's not about, there is $3,000 here. See? Well, I only earned $4,000 a year at that time. $3,000 would have been a ton of money. But everybody has different little quirks. I like to carry money. And it's probably because I never had any. And now I have some money, I want to carry it. But you see, I started to do that before I had any money. And I would take, and I would put phony money in a roll, but I would have the right thing on the outside. It was the thickness of it. My mind didn't know the difference. I knew intellectually the difference, and then shortly I didn't even pay any difference to that. It was the feel of it. I did different things. I watched different people. I saw how this person did this and somebody else did that. I read a lot, so I read a lot of great self-help books. And I literally did what some of these books suggested. It wasn't just sometimes, I did it. I would follow it right to a T. You'll very rarely see me without a suit on. That's part of the paradigm. It's part of the paradigm. I don't care what anybody else does, how they dress. I'm always going to be dressed. I mentally made up my mind one time I'd be at least, if I wasn't the best dressed, one of the best dressed people in the room. Why did I do that? I did that because I was changing how I saw me. How I saw me. I had never gone to school. I had no money. I had dumb jobs. And today, along with Sandy Gallagher, I have a company that operates all over the world.
Rule number 7, create space.
On this video today, I'm going to show you how to make money with YouTube Shorts without ever...
Right here on my desk, I have sitting this little hourglass. Well, you know, I can't put anything where that hourglass is until I get rid of it. And we find that we want things to come into our life, but we don't create room for them. Nature abhors a vacuum. And I remember we were sitting in the living room having a cup of coffee and just visiting. And she said, do you mind if we go and sit in the kitchen? And I said, not at all. So I asked her, I said, why do you want to sit in the kitchen rather than here? She says, I can't stand that room. I just hate sitting in that room. She says, I hate those curtains that are on the window, on the dining room window, the drapes on the front window. And I said, no, you don't hate those, Mark. I said, you only have attract things to you that you love, that you're in harmony with. I said, if you really didn't love them, you get rid of them. But she said, I'm going to put them there if I get rid of them. I said, Mark, if you had something to put there, you couldn't put it there because you've already got something there. And I said, that's when I started to teach her the law of vacuum law of prosperity. So anyway, she went and got a chair and got up and stood on it. She started to take all these curtains down. Well, Don, he was roaring like a stuffed pig. He said, what are you doing? And she said, I'm getting rid of these. And she did. Wasn't too long after I dropped in, all the furniture in the living room was gone. It was like they were just moving into the place. But then they got new curtains, and then they got new furniture. And you know, everything in that house changed. Wasn't too long they were in business for themselves. They're both gone now. But when they left, they were fairly well off. They had a beautiful place in Florida they'd go to in winter. The family still runs their own business. I mean, it was such a beautiful thing to see. And it was all, and I tell the story in here because it was all about the vacuum law of prosperity. Well, what have you got in your life that you don't want or that you don't like? Or what is it that you've got that you really want to get rid of? You've got to get rid of this stuff. Get rid of it. Give it away. See, nature truly does abhor a vacuum. When you make space for the good that you desire, that's when the good's going to come. Most people don't make the space for the good that they desire.
Rule number 8, pay yourself first.
Talk about people paying themselves. They pay everything under the sun, but they don't pay themselves. Think of when you're on a plane and the oxygen mask may drop down. There's a problem with oxygen in the plane. They will tell you, if you have a child with you, put your own on first. Because you can't look after the kids if you haven't got yourself looked after. Well, that's exactly the same with money. Look after yourself first. If you don't pay yourself, you're soon going to cheat yourself and just not do very well.
Rule number 9, listen with your emotions.
We are building a picture in our mind here. This is an idea. We could say it's a goal. Then we impress that idea upon this part of our personality. That's the idea in our mind. Now, what we've got to understand is that this part of our mind, the subjective mind, is actually universal intelligence. And this is really the way it is. When you press the idea upon your subconscious mind, you are universally everywhere. Now, to help you think of that, well, here's a phone. Let's suppose you're in, Buenos Aires, and I'm right here in North America, Toronto. And I dial your number. I've got you on the phone. Time and space means nothing because I've got onto that frequency. And so you and I can communicate. We're connected. One person's in Buenos Aires, or you could say Singapore, you could say Shanghai, and another one is in New York or in Toronto, but they're connected. Why? The time and space means nothing because you're dealing with energy and you're dealing with laws. Now, when you impress this idea upon the subconscious mind is universal intelligence. And everything, anywhere in the universe that's in harmony That is a frequency. Understand that. That idea is a frequency. It's operating on a frequency. And so everything that's in harmony with it begins to move toward it. Because in harmonious vibration, and you attract it. Now, throw a slide up, Scott. Look here for a moment. Soren Kierkegaard wrote something really great on intuition. He said, listen. You got to listen. You listen with your emotions. We can only get in touch with our own source of intuition and wisdom when we no longer depend upon others' opinions for our sense of identity or worth. We all tend to worship something. The question is, will we worship the God of opinion or the God of our heart? I found I had less and less to say until finally I became silent and began to listen. I discovered in the silence the voice of God. Now look at, you're going to attract to you everything that you require to manifest the idea in your mind. Thoughts will come to you. It's your intuition that picks them up and then act on them. And just because you've never gone there before, you've never done it before, that's okay. This is where courage comes in. This is where awareness and wisdom comes in. See, intuition is the mental faculty. Go back to our slide here for a moment, Scott. Intuition is here in our conscious mind. It's one of our intellectual factors. We have perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, and intuition, right here. Now, intuition is that mental faculty on a conscious level. We pick up thoughts that are flying our way. They're flying our way. What are they? It's energy that's in harmony with you. You've got on the frequency of this good that you desire, and you're going to start attracting. And that's what Kierkegaard said. We got to start listening. We listen with our emotions. Let's pay attention to what's coming our way.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is don't be limited by age.
What if Tony Robbins, myself, and some really special guests could show you over 3 days, about 2.5
I didn't like the idea that when you've lived for so long, you've got to cut out, you've got to stop. I thought, hell, I don't like that idea at all. First of all, I think I believe we're here to do God's work. God's work is creation, expansion, fuller expression, greater goodness. And if we're going to do that, we're going to be working at it all the time we're here on this planet. We never stop. So age should have no bearing on it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple of people ask me when we started to build this place, we put a couple of $1 million into this, and somebody said, how old are you? And I think I was probably 83 when they started to break ground. They said, you're 83 and you're going to spend $2 million building a studio? And I said, yeah, why not? I mean, you see, we let things that really have no concern, we let them bother us, we let them control us. Age is a dumb thing to let control you. It's our thinking that controls everything. That's the one point every great leader agreed on. We become what we think about. Well, what's a person thinking? I'm thinking if I get old, I got to stop. Well, then you'll stop. Or I'm thinking, well, if I've been here a long time, I've got a lot of experience. I want to utilize that experience to keep me going as long as I am here.
Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you watch a video and just get motivated, the science says you have a 35% chance of actually following through on your goals. That's not good enough. No, not for you, Believe Nation. We gotta do something. But when you write it down and you create a specific plan of action for the next week, that number jumps to 91% chance of you following through. And when you commit to somebody else, like leaving a comment on this video, it jumps to 95%. You need to follow through on your goals. So what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your specific plan of action for the next week? Put it down in the comments below so I can celebrate you.
Why did a guy like me change? I didn't believe there was an emotional or capricious God reached out and said, let's give Bob a chance. I didn't believe that. I thought, something's happened. What's happened? Well, I spent 9.5 years studying with some absolutely brilliant people. Now, I formed a good habit over that time. I picked good mentors, and that's very important. You can use these films as a mentor. You can. You can let me be your mentor. You know, I've often heard it said people that have been gone for a couple of thousand years can help you more than somebody that's alive today. And I get a lot of help from people that have been gone for a long time through their books and writings. So you could use this series as a mentor. But a habit I formed right from the first person that helped me, Ray Stanford, he said, do exactly what I tell you. And for some reason, I decided I would. I didn't question him, I just did it. He said, do it until you find out I'm lying or I don't know what I'm talking about. And he said, I don't lie, and I do know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to say that to you, and hopefully you'll grasp it the same as I did. Do what I suggest in these films until you find out I'm lying or I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't lie. And believe me, I do know what I'm talking about. Many years ago, they said, by their results, you'll know them, or by their fruits, you'll know them. I searched every day, and every time I picked a new mentor, and I did pick new mentors, I did exactly what they said. It was difficult at first because what I was really doing was changing habit patterns. But they were teaching me things. They were teaching me information that the average person may never learn. I developed a very close rapport with them. And they were brilliant people, every one of them very accomplished. That is a good rule. If you want to do something, go to someone who has demonstrated by results they do know what they're talking about. Ask them, what should you do? Then do exactly what they tell you. Now, I know that works because I'm still doing it. And I do it every day. I don't think you determine what your purpose is. I think you discover what your purpose is. There's a difference. Determining indicates deciding. And I don't think you decide. I think if you go about it the right way, you discover it. Like there's some people that should be painting all day. They're great artists. I think Michelangelo was obviously a great artist, a great sculptor. I mean, that was his purpose in his life. Well, I believe my purpose is doing what I'm doing. Your purpose is why you get out of bed in the morning. Do you know why you get up? Well, most people say, well, it's to go to work. Well, that'd be a good reason to stay in bed. You know, you say, well, everybody's doing it. That'd be another reason to stay in bed. If you're ever doing what everybody's doing, you're probably going in the wrong direction. Your purpose is your reason for living. What you want to do is sit down and maybe take a pen and a pad and then ask yourself, what do I really love doing? Now, you may have to spend a while at this. You might get up an hour early every morning and go sit under a tree somewhere if you're in a nice climate, or pick a favorite chair, someplace where you're not going to be disturbed, and totally relax and say, if I could spend my life doing something, what do I really love doing? Now, since you don't ask yourself that question every day, it might take a while for this answer to come to the surface. But it comes to your consciousness. And it may take a while. You may have to do this every morning for 3 months. But it would be well invested, the time.
How many times have you had somebody say to you, hey, have you got a minute, Bob? Have you got a minute? They don't want a minute. I want you to think about that. I read a poem one time. I said, I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. It was forced upon me. I can't refuse it. I didn't seek it and I didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. It's only a tiny little minute, but eternity is in it. Well, at any rate, I thought I'm going to put this on a video and I'm just going to share it with everybody. Just this one little part out of the seminar I'm making. I want you to look at this sand timer and I want you to think about your life. The sand in the top of the glass represents the future. The sand in the bottom of the glass represents the past. Now, do you know, we know what's in the past and yet we can't do anything about it. Do you know what the trick is? You don't know how much sand's in the top of the glass. You may think you have a lot, you might only have a little. Then again, you may think you have a little and you might have a lot. When I was a little boy, I was raised by my grandmother. And I don't know, when I was a little gaffer, she was probably 60, but as long as I can remember, Grandma would say, I'll soon be gone, dear, I'll soon be gone. Well, you know, we loved her. She was really an angel of God, but we thought she was never going to go. She lived to be 94 for 30-some years. I'll soon be gone. She didn't think she had much time left. She had 34 years left. Now, about the same time, I had a buddy of mine, Bob Yates. He was just 16. And bang, he ran into the abutment of a bridge and his life was snuffed out. If you had asked him a half hour before how much sand he had left, he would have said at least a half a century. He didn't have a half an hour. See, the trick is we don't know how much sand we have left. The future, we don't know. The past, it's gone. Now, the only thing you can deal with is what's right here, right now. And if you look, the sand is always moving. Now, think of this. You see, I was working on that, and then I was working on a graph I've got here on my computer, and I'm thinking of the time somebody said, hey, have you got a minute? Well, they don't really want a minute. Do you know if you're earning $50,000 a year, a minute's 42 cents? A half hour is $12.50. If we take that ahead a bit, if you're earning $80,000 a year, a minute's 67 cents. Half hour is $20. If you're earning $150,000 a year, got a minute? It costs you $1.25 a minute. A half hour is $37.50. So you see, if somebody said, you want to stop for a cup of coffee? Well, if you're earning $250,000 a year, a minute is $2.08. Half hour is $62.50. And then, of course, you got the coffee to pay for on top of that. So you see, the point is this. This is all we've got right here, right now. We don't know how much we have left in the future, but we do know what we've got now. And I have found the people that win are the people who make up their mind. They're not going to waste the minutes. They're going to be productive. They're going to make it happen every minute.
He said that success was the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Anyone that has a goal and they're moving towards it, they're successful. Most people think that you're successful if you have a lot of money. Quite often you have a lot of money if you're successful, but it isn't. I wouldn't say Mother Teresa has a lot of money.
Okay.
You know, but she's a pretty successful lady. So it's...
okay, so that barrier to success...
Well, there's a couple of them.
Okay.
I think there's two barriers. One is our conditioning. The conditioning that takes place in our subconscious mind from the time we're infants. All we can do is act and talk like the people around us. That's why we learn the language we learned. If there was 10 languages spoken in our home, we'd learn 10 languages without any trouble. There's usually one, and that's the only one we ever learn. And we grow older and we think, oh, I couldn't learn another language. We could learn 100 if we wanted to. You can do anything. But I think we're conditioned. We have a real strong conditioning, usually with not some very good ideas. And then that's the barrier that's inside us. The one that's outside of us is our environment. We have a tendency to act like everybody around us. And if you think about this, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Because if you study statistics, 95% of the people live their entire life and never live the way they want to live. You know that 95% of the population in this country, let's say in North America, the richest continent in the history of the world, they'll work productively, let's say for 40 of their 65 years, and they'll end up with hardly any money. Well, there's got to be something wrong.
So there's not much.
5% of the people end up financially comfortable or independent.
Are you trying to depress us, Bob? Because that's
No, actually, I think it's quite an exciting idea, because you see, the idea behind it is that anybody can win, anyone at all. But if we start studying these statistics, I think we'll arrive at the conclusion, geez, I better start thinking for myself rather than follow everybody. Most people, they get a job, they look around, they see how everybody else is doing their work, and they start doing it the same way. They should stop and think, I wonder if any of these people know what they're doing. You know, is there a better way to do it?
But don't we have a need to fit in? I mean, we don't want to stand out. We don't want to get fired. We don't want to make waves.
Exactly. Just fall into line. You know, take a number. Be like everybody around. Now that'd be great in the animal kingdom, but human beings aren't supposed to live that way. I think we should make a few waves. We should maybe stand out, be different. Not for the sake of being different, but because we are different. We all think different thoughts. And I believe we should start to think and build images in our mind of what we'd like to do and then set out and do it. Emerson did that, Edison did that, Marconi did that, Samuel Morse did that, Buckminster Fuller did that. We could go on and on and on. They were different, they stood out, they made a few waves.
You should seek failures. See, if you're